Welcome to the Dugout. We're going to be starting a new series called Let's Discuss. This week's topic is going to be team of the season so far. Leave suggestions down for next week's video. Okay.
All right.
So,
And yeah, we're a man light this week, so Alex and Lucas aren't going to be with us today. So I brought along Max. He's going to be joining us in this discussion.
Hi, everyone. I'm here now.
hopefully we're going to have all five of us for next week. So let's get right into it. Start with goalkeeper.
Yeah, let's go goalkeeper.
Max, why don't you start us off?
All right. Well, I think this one is one of the easier positions. Like Martinez kind of has to be.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah,
He's got the second most clean sheets after Edison.
10 clean sheets, which is really impressive for like an Aston Villa keeper.
In 19 appearances.
Yeah, honestly.
I think you know why? I think why he wins it is because Darlow's had the amazing saves.
Yeah.
Martinez has had the amazing saves and the clean sheets, and Edison's had just clean sheets.
There's definitely a few contenders.
And good saves as well. Mendy was dropped off a bit, but he definitely had a good chance at the beginning of the season.
I think
you have to go Martinez.
I think after Grealish, he's like Aston Villa's most important player.
He's been so important for them.
Yeah, and he's
part of the reason why are we all agreeing with Martinez?
Yeah, I agree, but I also just want to give a mention to Pope. I think he's been like quite good for Burnley. Burnley have always got a solid defense, but like I think he's a really good shot stopper. And
I hope he plays for England.
But then obviously you can mention Edison because he's got the most clean sheets, but also I think he's got a very solid defense behind him this year. He's made some good saves, but Martinez is the standout, really.
You could say Mendy. Like his start to the season was
Chelsea fans would love to hear Mendy, but I wouldn't say so at the moment.
He has dropped off, and he definitely has conceded a few goals that should have been savable.
But he was a must-buy for Chelsea because who they had before was not doing it for them. Kepa, honestly, that is a disaster class. Anyway, we can move on to the next position.
Let's go left back.
Transfer.
Left back.
Left back. Okay, so this might be a controversial
Two United fans here, so I'm waiting for sure.
Okay,
how about you go first, Ollie?
Yeah.
You want me to start? Okay. To be honest, even as a City fan, I'll give Shaw credit. He's been very good this season.
Yeah.
I think him and Tierney are definitely neck and neck, but I just think the way Tierney's been he just stands out in the Arsenal team, putting in very good balls, always bombing down the wing. So I'm going with Tierney. Also, shout out to Leicester man James Justin. He's been very good, but I just haven't seen enough, watched him enough this season.
Yeah. So Max, what do you think?
So, I'm going with Tierney.
I think. Look, I actually had Tierney in my list initially.
Yeah.
So I was like, but it's just so I couldn't leave out Shaw. Like, especially his last 10 games for United, he's just been dropping 9 out of 10 performances consistently. He also has the second, he's created the second most chances out of any defender in the Premier League this season.
Is that behind Tierney?
No, that's behind Robertson, who has the most with one more. Tierney actually has less than half of his, that was a big reason as well.
Yeah,
because he's played far less games though.
Yeah, he has played less games, so there's a reason.
But still, you can't take that away from him. I also think it's kind of gone on the radar that when United signed Telles, everyone thought that was going to be our new left back. That was probably one of our better signings of the season, and Shaw's just
hindsight, it still is.
Yeah, and Shaw just completely made that position his own. Tellers barely starting at the moment, maybe in cup games or Euro.
Shaw had a really poor performance against us in
I think at the start of the season that I thought Tellers should start over Shaw. He was his defensive positioning was questionable in some games, but
Seb,
he's just completely
So you're going with Shaw.
Yeah.
Are you going with Shaw as well, Seb?
Well, actually, I have to say, I do have my doubts about Shaw. He has actually got his defensive frailties, which is why I actually wouldn't put him first. But he's improved his, attacking ability, his ability to cross the ball in the box, creating chances, which are things he just couldn't do before. It seemed like he was lethargic going forward. So, but he's built on that now. So I'd have to say Tierney's been more well-rounded, but it is very close at the moment. And we've just seen Man United beat Southampton this morning 9-0. where Shaw had 2 assists, was it?
Yeah, that's when
Yeah, it was just,
we're
dude.
recording it after Arsenal United
Yeah.
play this morning.
So we're in Australia. We're
And
recording it the night of after that game. Yeah, 2 assists,
Yeah.
2 really good
He
assists.
had
Delivering the
amazing
balls were great.
performance.
Amazing performance, yeah. But I'm gonna have
Sucks
to
that he
go
got
with Tierney.
taken off.
Yeah,
He was
so
gonna get taken off at halftime. I think that could have been his
I think they're
game
actually
speed.
resting him, to be honest. But yeah, so
Yeah, no,
Tierney,
same.
he's actually got
So are you
Arsenal
going with
through a bit
Tierney,
of a rut.
Seb?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Tierney.
Okay.
Even when they weren't
Okay,
performing
sweet.
well,
Sure.
you know, he was an outstanding player, really. So yeah.
It's definitely fair to go with either or. I'll say that.
I think
Okay.
also
Let's go
Robertson
into.
deserves a shout.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
Okay, yeah, we
For sure.
should mention other
He's-
players.
His biggest chance, like he's created the most chances as a defender with like 8, I believe.
Yeah.
And he was, you know, with all the injuries that happened to Liverpool's defense, him and obviously we'll talk about Fabinho later. But
I
like, he
also
just really
think
stepped
I
up.
think we need to mention Cresswell because he's got the most assists for a fullback in the Premier League. So he deserves a shout. He's been really good for West
Yeah,
Ham, who are
very
up
good set
into
piece taker.
5th place at the moment, which is impressive, and he's been a big part of that.
Yeah.
And also Dina, he had a very good start to the season. Not been like I would say as consistent as Shaw and Tierney. That's why he doesn't really get a huge mention. But so Chilwell deserves a mention.
All right, so next
Moving
position
to
we're going to
centre
go with right back. So Max, tell me
right
who
back?
you've got in right back.
I actually think this is one of the weaker positions. Probably, like, dare I say, the weakest in team season 4. Personally,
Yeah.
I just think
Maybe
as
less of a
competition
debate.
for
Let's see.
yeah, like competition for spots was a bit like easier. I think after
Yeah.
Cancelo and Lamptey, it's pretty thin. But for me,
Yeah.
it's Cancelo. Like he's
Yeah.
just really like gone up a notch for me, like as a player this season. Like going forward, he's just so much better than he was last season. And I think he's proving to be the signing that all the City fans actually expected him to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
He's definitely got a lot of like footballing ability for a wing back. You see him with Pep plays in the midfield for half the game, and it's might be a little bit of a cheat putting him at right back because he actually has played left back half the season.
Yeah.
But I think it's fair to play there because that is his natural position, and he's definitely played a lot of games there while Walker's been injured. Reece James had a very, very good start to the season and looked like he
Yeah.
could have had this spot, but we're up to what, game week 20 to 22, and he's, he hasn't been starting every game and looks like he's not even going to be starting under Tuchel with Callum Hudson-Odoi.
Yeah,
in
with
the
Callum
right wing back.
Hudson-Odoi. So yeah, I agree. I think Cancelo definitely deserves to be in there. There's a couple other players who have been pretty good, like Walker Peters for Southampton, who had a really good start to the season. He's been quite solid for them. But I think you have to give it to Cancelo. Obviously, the most clean sheets, which is kind of a given with their defense this season, but it still counts for something. So I think that's a pretty easy one for us.
Okay. I reckon we go to the centre back that we definitely all agree on, right?
Yeah.
The best centre back this season.
Yeah.
Diaz.
Yeah,
Even a
easily.
debate for best player this season, really, or the most impactful signing for sure. Yeah, I think there's no debate on that one with anyone really. So no
he's kept the
controversy
most clean sheets out of any defender in the league. He's just revolutionized our defense. It seems like we've had like a recurring defensive problem where no matter how much money we spend, even when we bought in Laporte, there was just a few issues. Like we'd still concede goals, not a huge amount, but now it's ridiculous. I think he's conceded something like him and Stones as a partnership has conceded 2 goals in 16 games, something ridiculous like that.
He's fully stepped up. Like you've kind of been lacking something in your spine of your team since Company has left, and he's just stepped up and he's the massive leader of that team. And I actually think he's brought up the level of Stones, although he's still playing very well, obviously.
It's like a Van Dijk-esque signing, like nearly.
So
like,
far, 100%.
We'll see like at the end of the season, but like if he continues like this, it'll look like that.
100%.
Also, disclaimer. This is only based on this season. Obviously, Robertson is probably the best overall left back, for example, but it's based off this season.
Yeah.
Just because I know we'll get comments about
like
that.
we're not going to include Van Dijk. Obviously, he probably is the best centre back.
Obviously, top 2 centre backs in the league, but yeah, I think everyone gets that.
Okay, next centre back. Right.
This is a tough one.
I'll start this one. I'm going with Konza from Aston Villa. And again, Aston Villa had the second most clean sheets this season, and he has been a huge part in that. He just looks
Definitely.
very sturdy at the back, and I think it's fair that I have two City players, two Aston Villa players in the 4 out of the 5 because kept the most clean sheets this season.
Yeah,
It
no.
was between him and Fabinho for me. Fabinho's played that centre back role very well. Looks like he plays that position.
Yeah, that's been really weird to see because he's always been used to that defensive midfield position. He's stepped in and he's not actually looked like a midfielder. He's just kind of slotted in as a proper
He's
centre back.
completely
And
comfortable.
obviously,
Even Henderson the other day against West Ham looked fucking like he was a
yeah,
centre back as
I
well.
think Fabinho's the one that stands out for me out of those two though. But he's had 4 different defensive partners, and he still played solid in every game. Like he's had Phillips,
Yeah.
Williams, Henderson, and Matip, and he's still been solid. So it's definitely a shout. I agree with Ollie. Cons has been very good. I'm gonna actually say Fofana though. I think
Oh,
he's
from
I
Leicester,
think
yeah,
he's been like
100%.
very solid.
Good shout.
He's taken Leicester to that next level this season. It looks like they could be in a Champions League place, which is like really good for them. They're like just carrying on their form.
Leicester
Good to
Leicester
see,
managed
man.
to sell their fucking best players, but then
Yep.
replace them with better players
It's
every year. I don't know
ridiculous.
how they do it. They
Sold
lose
Maguire for
Kante,
80
and
million.
Didi does a job like that. Sells Maguire for
Right.
fucking
And
Soyuncu hasn't been
Sancho.
playing the
Yeah,
season really.
Sancho.
Also, I just want to quickly say Ogbonna has been very good this season for West Ham. He's actually
Yeah, a
stepped
lot of
up
West
and
Ham
showed to
players
be
have
the signing that he should
gone
have
under the
been a couple
radar.
years ago. Yeah, West Ham are a bit of a dark
You know
horse this
what?
season.
I forgot to name someone for right back, Kufal. He's actually been very good for West Ham as well.
Oh yeah,
The
for
fucking
sure.
Czech partnership, mate.
Yeah. All right, Maxi. Who are you saying for centre back?
This
next
one was
Diaz?
hard for me because there were a lot of good options. I want to specifically give shout out to Fabinho just for how well he's played in that centre back position while he's centre defensive mid. Obviously he has the ability to do that, but to actually be in that position and have that expectation that he needs to perform there because he's one of their best centre backs at the moment, considering after all their injuries. But I'm actually going to say John Stones. And
Okay.
it sucks.
We like
sucks as a United fan to say that. However, it's hard to go with other people when you look at
Yeah.
the stats.
I just didn't want to go with the
Specifically,
duo. That's all. That's why I left him.
Yeah, I just think
Yeah.
that that duo is crazy though.
And Diaz has been the better.
They have 11 clean sheets in 12 starts, and their 11 clean sheets is more than any other them together, more than any other team in the league.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, it's definitely one of the best duos at centre back we've seen in a while.
Also,
really,
another massive part of it for me is the Laporte situation. Obviously, he was injured, and so they did bring in.
Well, I mean, he wasn't fully fit, but he was dropped against Tottenham. He was dropped against Tottenham.
How long ago was that?
Fucking when we lost 2-0.
Spurs.
It was
Well,
fucking
that's
something like
it
6
my
game week,
point.
something like
What I
that.
was going to say is that
He hasn't been
Laporte-
able to find his way back into the team, right?
But when he was in his form, he was. A lot of people agree he was the closest in ability to Van Dijk, who's
second
sure.
best.
And the fact that they've been able at the moment, I think most City fans probably don't even want him to start, because of how solid that.
Because I really like him, but yeah.
I just think that is a massive.
It's not a bad problem to have for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
also Thiago Silva has been had a slow start, but then started getting into form, been really good. But then I just don't think Chelsea's defense as a whole has been quite up there but he definitely deserves a mention.
Yeah,
Okay,
he deserves a mention, but
he's
I
also
think the
brought
quality
in.
of these other centre backs doesn't quite compare at the moment.
Yeah,
I think his leadership is also helpful.
Yeah,
All right.
definitely having a player like that at your club helps. Move on to the midfield. Yeah.
Yeah, midfield 3. So you can set this up however you like. The 3 centre mids.
So I'm gonna do
Cam,
one
whatever you want to
holding.
do.
I'm gonna do one holding and 2 they're both attacking midfielders, but I'm just gonna have them in centre mid. So for CDM, we'll start with a holding. I'm going with Souček from West Ham. He's got 7 goals as a CDM. He's West Ham's top goal scorer. That is just outrageous, and he's just been it looks like it when I watch West Ham, he just looks like he's everywhere, and he's half the reason they're in fifth. Probably won him a lot of points this season.
Yeah, honestly, I have to agree with that. I'm going to put Souček in my team. Like, his aerial ability is great. Like, he can clear the ball. He's really good defensively, and somehow he's actually added 7 goals to their team, which is really good, and he's got them some important points. So I think he deserves to be there. But definitely players like Højbjerg could be there, or Basama even. He's been really good. Tielemans also. So there's definitely a few players who could be there, but I think Souček's been the standout. Yeah. So Max?
I think my one's a bit differently. Like, I'm doing a flat 4-3-3. And so because of that, I'm actually going to put Gundogan. Because
Sorry, say his name again.
Gundogan.
Same kid who said Pereira is better than him 2 seasons ago.
Another part of it for me is the fact that Gundogan it's similar to Souček. He's in the midfield, but he's also scoring every game. You know,
He's our top goal scorer in the Prem this season.
He's winning them games. Like, his goals are winning them games, and I think he's a big reason why they're first.
He's been a very important player for them this season for sure.
Definitely top 3 play for us this season. He always does his job. Like, he never has bad performances really anymore, and he's extremely consistent and always does a job that's asked of him, which is great because we really, even though he's not the same type of player as David Silva, like, he contributes with the goals, and we really missed someone.
I was about to say that after losing Silva and also with Fernandinho aging, it's like their midfield, you know, they needed a player like that.
Yeah, a bit of a rock.
Someone to step up, and he really did.
On. And I think I also just quickly, I think the quality he's shown this season is the closest to the next 2 players we're about to discuss.
I agree. All right, I want to do something just quickly. Just since we might have different positions, I can just give me your next 2 players in midfield, whether it be 2 centre mids or Cam and a centre mid. Just tell me who you have, Ollie.
Okay, I think this is pretty easy, but there are other players that have been so good this season and are competing. But Bruno Fernandes, as much as I hate to say it, and of course De Bruyne. De Bruyne, I still think he is somewhat underrated. Like, he obviously second top goal scorer in the Prem, and he's injured right now. But the balls he plays are just unbelievable, and Fernandes might have the goals and only 1 assist behind him in the Prem, except he can't do the things De Bruyne can do, and he's just been he's showed his class and why he's the best player in the Premier League all season. And then Bruno Fernandes, you know, stats.
Yeah, let's just forget about all of
these
other goals.
Lie. They don't lie.
Yeah,
and he
21 goals and assists in 22 appearances. Like, you just can't argue.
Yeah, that's true. But also Foden has been fucking ridiculous for us this season. At 20 years old, he's just stepped up massively and is showing that he's going to be a future phenomenon, honestly.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go for something a little bit different because I think I know what these boys are about to say. So I'm actually going to put in De Bruyne and I'm going to put in Grealish in the midfield. Okay. I know. We've already.
A United fan leaving out Bruno. I cannot believe it.
Okay.
I cannot believe it.
Well, hear me out because De Bruyne.
I'm gonna hear you out.
I know you'll like this. Max isn't gonna like this.
I fucking love this.
Okay, because it leads on to my attack. Grealish has been the best player for Aston Villa and arguably the best player in the Premier League this season. Right? I think we can agree on that. Yes.
I don't agree.
Maybe.
I don't agree.
Okay.
I don't agree because I want to talk about it later. I'll let you speak. I just think you can't. Fernandes has been phenomenal. He's the reason we were even
in first place. That is true.
In first place, imagine oh my god.
Look, if his form didn't drop off the last 5 or 6 games, I wouldn't even be saying this. But Grealish has been consistent
today.
Yeah, 3.
We won 9-0. I don't like to be saying Bruno.
Okay.
If the next player I would put in there, but we're competing with very good players. I'm not going to put him at CDM. So it's like I got to have 2 out of Grealish, Fernandes, and Bruno. So, Grealish,
right.
Fernandes, and De Bruyne. So I'm going to go with De Bruyne and Grealish at cam. And I know he starts on the left, but he does drift into the midfield.
Yeah, and he's
and
definitely
Yeah, no,
10
it's
is
fair
in
enough
his
to put
natural.
him in the cam position, but I just
De Bruyne's stats speak for himself, obviously, and his influence on the team. Best player in the Premier League overall, I'd say. And
I
yeah,
think we should just do a couple honourable mentions. Also, I still can't believe you've just done that. James Ward-Prowse, fucking big goals this season, and I think I'm pretty sure. Well, last time I checked, he'd played every minute in the Premier League this season, or like everyone but one, and he's the only midfielder to do that. And who else?
Madison definitely.
yeah,
He's
Madison.
definitely gone
Madison's
under
flown
the
under the
radar this
radar.
season.
Yeah.
I think a bit. He's like he has flown on the radar and he has played well, but he's still like, in my opinion, nowhere near
No, we're not saying he's on the
your
same level, but
Fernandes or your De
Yeah,
Bruyne's
yeah, of
or your
course.
Grealish's.
he's really not. He's really okay. Well, don't
Maybe
disrespect
Fernandez, in
Grealish.
Seb's opinion.
No, okay, he's not as good as Bruno. And look, Bruno definitely has been one of the best players, but I think it's one of the most stacked positions in the league. But yeah, Madison, like he's been performing very well, and a lot of the Leicester players don't get talked about as much as the top 6 teams. So yeah, he deserves a mention. He's a very good player.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to.
Should we move on to the attack, or is there anyone else to mention? Move on to the attack.
I also, like, my opinion's obvious. Like, mine was Fernandes and KDB. I feel like it's undebatable, personally. Just like
Yeah.
the stats speak for themselves.
I mean, I don't want to put Fernandez in, but I think it's only fair to do so.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No, that's
let's
fair.
move on to the attack.
All right, let's hit up. Let's go with left wing first.
Left wing. All right. I can start. I think mine somewhat.
I think mine will be the
like,
same as yours,
debatable.
maybe.
So again, this is like similar to other positions. I had a different player in there. I had Grealish in there.
Same. Oh.
And
Ooh.
had, and as when we were discussing him, he's like Aston Villa's best player. He is, when you look at him on the pitch, he's simply a joy to watch. You know, like so many standout performances. Like him battering Liverpool was like great to see. He has, how is he the second most assists or third most assists?
Third because of Kane.
Third after, Kane.
Him and Bruno are tied right now, but he has 2 games in hand or something like that.
But just for me, Son is just a bit.
It is
him.
between them.
Position, Son has double his goals.
Yeah,
double his goals.
But you can ask they're different type of players.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that's why I think for a left wing, like Son is just. And at the start of the season, like, dude, teams were fucking scared to face Son and Kane because they was just like that duo was immense.
No,
and obviously, I guess there's an argument for the fact that like if there wasn't Kane, then perhaps Son wouldn't performed as good. And obviously, Grealish is playing with less quality players, but still, I don't know. For me, Son edges it.
I agree. You want to go first?
Well, I mean, you already had Grealish in your team, so I mean, it's hard for you to say which one's be better. But mine is Grealish, and I just think, I mean, you'll see I'll have another Spurs play in the attack, which will be obvious. But I just think the difference between Grealish and Son is Grealish has really been like he's a captain. He has been the big driving force behind Aston Villa's success this season. He's a fucking fantastic leader, and he gets his stats, he gets his assists, but like
he's a lot
what
more
he's
than
done
that.
this season. Yeah, what he's done this season is like unbelievable. And overall, I think this season he's been the better player than Son. Son, what he did at Arsenal was ridiculous. That goal and his goal contributions and everything. The connection with Kane has been like fantastic, but it's slowed down a bit. But Grealish has great performance after great performance. So for me, he edges it, but I think it's quite easy for me to say, honestly.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I've gone with Son as well, and this is partly the reason why I left out Bruno. So I just thought that Son and Grealish needed to be in the team. Son's honestly, he stepped up his game to the next level. Like his finishing, he is so clinical, anytime he's throwing goal, like you just know he's going to score. And I think he's really thrived with Kane being in that deeper role this season, getting those long balls in behind, and he can just finish with just about any chance. Rashford, I think he's also been quite good this season. Not at the same level as Son, but he's definitely been one of United's most important players, I'd say, especially in the bigger games. A couple other players like Neto.
Look at the past couple of seasons. Rashford and Son have like the same stats. And I think it's funny that everyone people kind of ponder whether Son's world class, and then when it comes to Rashford, like they kind of.
I'm sorry,
like recently,
Son is much better than Rashford. You can just see it by watching him play, mate.
Much better.
No, I think
maybe I would say comfortably. I'd say comfortably.
I think Rashford stepped up his game to the next level for sure.
Rashford still plays.
I know. I'm just saying it's like it just kind of shows how underrated Rashford is, because people rate Son so highly, but if you actually look at their goals and assists and the games and minutes, it's very similar.
I think it's even more impressive that Son's doing this well in a Jose Mourinho side, to be honest. Like the way they play sets up to really score
good point.
1 or 2 goals in a game, and he's always up there in terms of the goals and assists. So I think that's fair. Let's go with right wing.
I'll mention one more player who's gone under the radar. Again, another lesser player, Harvey Barnes. He's been fucking unbelievable this season.
I don't want to hear about Harvey Barnes, to be honest, mate.
Max, guess how many goals he scored this season?
Like, I don't know, like 8.
We scored 7 goals this season, which is
7 or 8,
I mean,
very solid.
I think that's already more than he had last season.
He also scores important goals. Like he scores when they need him to score. It's fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Oh mate, I hate it.
The equalizer against United was
Oh, mate.
Guess who gave the ball away? Guess who gave the ball away?
Wasn't it Bruno for that one?
Yes.
Or was it Bruno?
All right, let's move on to right wing. Okay. I actually think you were saying right back was the easy position. I think this is the easiest position on the pitch.
Yeah.
There's been a few good players, but I think there's only one player we can give it to. Salah, top goal scorer in the league.
3 goals clear as well.
Not actually even having the best season, but he's still top goal scorer. Not much else to be said, really.
World class.
I think Saka might be the next best option. Whilst he's been great, there is a huge difference there.
There's such a big
huge difference.
Oh, definitely. I'd say though, Saka hasn't played enough games. I'd actually mention Rafinha to be there as the next best right wing. There actually hasn't really been many outstanding like right wings this season, but Rafinha's done well for Leeds. They're a very like attacking, free-flowing team, and I think he's enjoyed that, to be honest. But Salah it has to be. That's it, really.
There's really no debate.
I think Jared Bowen has the next most goals for a right wing, and he has 5.
So that's 10
less. Wait, how many Saka? I mean, they haven't all been from right wing though. So
yeah, I mean,
all right. Final position, striker. What are we saying?
The 3 Englishmen.
Yeah, the 3. Well, 4.
Kane, Vardy, Calvert-Lewin,
Bamford.
But that's true, Bamford.
Yeah,
but I think there's one that is just
has to be Kane.
Kane is a step above the other.
Definitely has to be Kane, no doubt.
I do love the fact
that
Jamie Vardy is 35 and like still competing for that top scorer role. But
yeah, it's really good to see that.
Like Kane is just Kane and Salah are the like type of players who can like they're just like that bit below like the Messi Ronaldos. Like they're there, like they could and in some seasons they even match them. And I think Kane especially, like people when he's a bit out of form, like people just quickly forget like how much of a goal scoring threat he is.
Yeah, for sure.
How much
he's definitely a real big threat to Alan Shearer's record.
100%.
He's also assisting like crazy.
Top assister. He's got 23 goal contributions this season, which is the most in the league.
He's really thrived in that new role for Tottenham, which we've never really seen in any other season with him before, dropping that deep, playing the balls. And I think he'd prefer to be scoring the goals, but this position's really suiting him.
I mean, he still has as many goals as Son. They both have 12 goals.
Yeah,
both
exactly.
Scores in the league.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
tied with like Bruno as well.
Yeah, so he's on course to get another 20 goal season after his first season where he was supposed to be a one-season wonder. So I'm sure he'll be happy with
It
that.
really hurts that Aguero isn't anywhere in the conversation.
I
I'll be
know.
honest.
I think him or
I'm
Salah
pretty
would
happy
be
about it.
Golden Boot. But I
Who,
can't
Kane
see
or Salah?
Kane or Salah or
I think Salah. Oh yeah, wait, hold on.
Vardy, but
Kane is injured. Kane is injured.
Yeah, he is
So,
injured at the moment, so that's
Salah-
going to definitely halt his...
So is De Bruyne. So is De
into
Bruyne.
the
So
Chelsea game.
Yeah.
who, Kane? Yeah, Kane's out for a
So he's
decent
like
amount. I'm
properly
pretty
in.
sure.
Oh,
Yeah, so definitely
So Salah
we
would
got to
definitely win that.
definitely got to mention Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He was
Yeah.
like very good
The
for
start
Everton
was
at the start of the
unbelievable.
season, where they were top of the league after 4 games with 12 points, scoring header after header. Yeah,
4
just
goals
very
in 1
dominant. And even now, he's still chipping in with a few goals. Very important for them.
But not even half in terms of like goals per game.
Yeah.
He hasn't even he barely doubled his tally from 4 games in.
Shout out to the Everton fans who were comparing James to Bruno. Where is he now? What's he doing?
No,
Oh
What-
God,
what's he
that's
doing?
Mate,
bad, Max.
you're gonna attract
James is an
some
unbelievable
haters
footballer,
from that.
but I'll let that one.
He had a little
Where is
injury.
he now?
He's back in the team, and he got a
He
goal
hasn't
the
been
other
the
day
same.
with his
He
right
hasn't
foot.
been okay, sure, but like,
But do you
he-
know that? Like, do you know
matching-
that?
am I wrong?
I
Is
mean,
he
I
matching-
I don't think the Bruno
he
comparison
matching
is
Bruno?
necessarily fair, but there's a
Yeah,
lot of things about
exactly.
James' game that I would take over Bruno's. I
No,
will
he's
say
a
that.
great player. I'm just saying, like, Fernandez,
Pipe down. Okay.
Respect.
Right, I get it.
respect.
All right, boys, are we happy with that?
Yeah, I'm happy with my team for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so let us know what you guys think in the comments. I'm sure not all of you guys are going to agree with that. There's a few controversial ones. There's been a
I'll
lot
wait
of
for the
good
Chelsea
plays this
fans.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah, please, Chelsea fans, just give us a little bit of a
Please
break.
argue
Also,
how your players are so much better.
Remember where
got
you
their
guys
players
are on the
so-
league table, mate. Just
Yeah.
Oh, mate.
You guys
so
aren't
a whole
first.
world of trouble.
you see the comments though. They want 5 Chelsea players in the team. They probably want Havertz and Werner in the team as well. So you know.
No, but honestly, Chelsea have had a few good players this season. They've got Tuchel now. They could kick on and get a top 4 spot.
keyword.
Like,
You.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Hammer
you're
that
not
in there.
wrong. Definitely not wrong.
Silva, Mendy, Reece James are the only ones who even have
Yeah.
Chilwell, maybe. Yeah. All right.
Alright,
So
but-
thank you for watching this week's question of the week. Make sure you leave suggestions in the comments so we can talk about it next week.
Yeah. Also, check the description for all the links to our socials, TikTok, Twitter, and make sure to check all of our accounts on
TikTok's
Twitter.
been banging recently, so make sure you watch the clips.
Yeah,
over
check
there.
it out. If you can't watch the full
Exclusive
video,
content.
there'll be clips on that. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya.